Hey everyone, so I'm just going to tear through and UV map this plant. We modeled the plant a while ago, and now I'm going to UV map it to prep it for Substance Painter. So I'm just going to dive in. I'm not going to really spend too much time on this in the sense that I don't want to waste time over explaining stuff that I've already sort of taught, so get rid of that. Let me maximize my screen and just dive in. So I may comment a little bit here and there, but generally speaking, you guys should know what you're doing UV mapping by now. So this is just for me to get this done, so that we can have something to use. All right, let's see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just gonna slap a cylindrical map on it for now. And then cut. This is something new, by the way, though. Toggle backface. Sorry, no, that's not it. In object mode, if you go to polygon display, toggle texture borders, texture border edges. This is something that I wish they didn't change. You basically have to turn that on now on the models in the 3D view. In the past, it would just be on by default, but now you have to actually turn it on. So, just FYI. That's where that is now. Like, it's on by default in the UV editor. It's right here. But to see it in the 3D view, you have to turn it on using shift right click, polygon display, toggle texture borders. So whatever. At least I I had to go looking for it. I had to find out why it's not turned on anymore. But now I know. I think I'm going to cut this shell right here as well. I'm going to shell mode and start breaking these apart. All right. All right, and then I'll unfold them in a minute. I think I also... Let's just cut this off for now until I decide what to do with it. All right, cut that. Grab this shell. Now most of this, I'm gonna probably planar map. This though, this I just need to unfold, I believe. Check my checkers. You know what, do I have? Oh, wait. That'd be nice if I could apply my own custom texture. I'll look into that later. Ah, nice. Okay, yeah, I can. I can tweak my checker pattern. Sweet. There we go. That's looks like the older one. Let's see. Checker one. You see, you can change the colors. 64 is fine. Cool. Anyways, I'll fiddle with that more later. Just had a spark of curiosity there. Alright, yeah, that looks fine. Not the prettiest layout, but we'll get to that. Alright, I grab bottom, linear map, Y. Let's do some cutting and unfolding. This one also needs to be unfolded. That's not very nice. Not do that. Let's do it like that. Yeah, that's cool. And what do we have here? Oh, that's, oh, okay. Got it. Let's unfold that too. That's not very nice. Let's see if the Unfold 3D does better. It does. So I've started trying to experiment with this new Unfold 3D. I think 2018 seems to be handling it better. It's definitely better than what it was. So sometimes I'll switch to Unfold 3D and give it a shot. And I've been turning up the iterations to 3. And it seems to do alright. Let me just go ahead and move and sew that and then redo it. No need for a seam there. Okay, cool, cool, cool. This one is going to be a challenging one, I think. All these little bits here are going to make this a pain. So, let's see. What do I want to do with it? I think what I'll do is get all the inner bits. Let's grow selection. Turn off my colors for a minute so I can see. And make sure I get these. Close the windows. Stupid. Leaf blowers don't annoy me. Okay. Shit. Just could not think of a faster way to select all these. So I'm doing it the long way. So bear with me. I guess I could maybe go this way and go back. Sometimes there's nothing for it. You just gotta do it the long way. Alright. Alright. I think I got what I want. Alright, let's just project again. Rip that off as a shell. Drag it off to the side. So these bits here I'll probably stitch on to something. But now I can at least unfold this without worrying. And that gives me that result. Good. Turn that on. And then these bits I should unfold. And then hopefully stitch them onto something. I might need to cut some seams on these as well. Let's check the checkers. They are on the underside, so priorities for making sure these look perfect is not super high. But you know what? Just for kicks. Cool. Oh, that worked. All right, let's do that for all of these. Double check it's not too far. Yeah, it's going exactly where I want it. Wait. Oh, yeah, let's make sure. Pretty sure I turned that on already, but. Alright. Cool. Alright. Click. Control Shift double click. Cut. Click. Control Shift double click. Cut. Cut. A couple more. Almost done. Alright, let's unfold these again. Whoa! Fail. Alright, let's switch to Legacy. That's better. Sort of. I think the model itself has some issues right there. Yeah, that is what it is. But whatever. This is probably slightly better though, at least in terms of distortion. There'll be some funky overlaps, but all right, and then I can sew some of these bits back on. Question is, which bits do I want to sew where? Let's sew. Okay. That's not what I want to do. That's probably also not what I want to do. Let's do this. Let's cut these off. Okay, and it looks like I accidentally got these on. Oops. Good. Okay. My checkers. Cool, good to go. Okay. Almost done. Bam. Unfold. Alright. Let's see how we're doing. Pretty good. Nice clean checkers everywhere. I'll take it. And then we got layout, but I'm not gonna waste my time with layout yet since I still have more plant stuff. This is pretty straightforward. It's literally just a planar map on the Y. And then maybe an unfold just in case. Yeah, didn't even budge. It's mostly a flat plane with just a little bit of bumps. So, should be fine. Alright. Now this sucker, actually, I need to actually smooth. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be smart. I'm going to copy this entire thing. Scoot it over, just so I have a backup copy. Always got to be paranoid. I'm going to go ahead and save too, because I need to actually smooth this. It's not smooth, it's just smooth mesh previewed. Oh, you know what I should do? I should start UV mapping it first though. It's a little easier to UV map on lower poly stuff before smoothing. So I'll just go ahead and UV map it first, then smooth it, and then I'll probably have to unfold again. But most of the shells will be created, which will be convenient. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, as far as this goes, let me first of all isolate it. As far as mapping this sucker, I just instinctively feel like it's going to be easier to rip off each of the pieces here, like the branches. So I'm gonna make a selection. In fact, I'll just do it since these aren't going to be connected anyway. I'll just make a selection of all the branches at once. And project a map on them just to rip them off as shells. And I'm able to do that. I'm able to do them all at once to save time. Just because none of them are connected to each other. They're connected to the main branch. So it's going to create shells out of each one anyways. Although this one, yeah, this one, I was kind of wondering about this one. Because they're sort of connected at that one vertice, it kind of freaked out right there. Whatever. It's going to be simple enough to break that off. I can just grab these faces and project again. Which is fine. Okay. Now I've got some shells to work with. Oops, did I miss this one? Oh no, it's just color coding it funny. Alright, so anyways, now that I've got that set up, all I gotta do is cut some seams and start unfolding. Which is no big deal. Actually, I should project on this one too, just to get it looking relatively normal. Whatever, doesn't matter. Okay. So, where am I going to cut seams? Let's see. I need to cut all the seams except for one up top there. Oh, I need to make sure my seams are... Yep, my seams are showing. That's good. Okay, cool. And then I also need to cut somewhere along the length of it. All right, and let's see if I can unfold that shell. Yep, looks fine. So, let's check the checkers, just of course, to be on the safe side. Yep, looks fine. So, this is about what I would expect to get from that, because it is basically the length of the trunk minus the holes where the branches come off. So that looks good to me. And now all I gotta do is do the same thing to each of the branches. So I know, again, I know that I'm gonna need to cut all 3 of these edges, but I want to leave one edge where it connects, because this is like gonna flip up as its own little tab there. So I'll just cut, and then I'll also cut along one of these edges in order to give it a place to unfold on the on that direction, and then just do an unfold, and that gave me some funky results. So let me see what's happening. Should be working. Let's try. Okay, so if it's getting funky, let's try it. First of all, let's try Unfold 3D. Yeah, okay. I think that worked. Let's see the checkers though. Yeah, checkers look fine. So now I've sort of started incorporating the Unfold 3D. Well, it's a little distortion right there. Not too bad, but yeah. So I've started trying to incorporate the Unfold 3D into my workflow now, and you know, sometimes it gives okay results, sometimes not. So, but it's definitely better than it was last version. It works more often than it did last version. All right, so just a few more cuts. Cut. Bam. Just move the shell off to the side of it. Oops. Grab it. And unfold. Alright. Just turn the checkers off so I can see a little better. Okay, let's see. What's this one? Okay, that's up here. Grab those, cut. Go back to the shell. Unfold. Alright. What's next? Cut. Cool. And one last cut. And one last unfold. Bam. Done. Alright, cool. Stem, good to go. Now I just gotta do the leaves. Oh, actually, I should smooth it first. First of all, let me save it. Actually, what I should have done. Aha. Here's what I should have done. Should have waited. In fact, now, let me just delete this one. Object mode. Delete. Ooh, good song. Okay, so what I should have done is waited till I did those UVs. See, this is all about thinking smart. If you're gonna do the UVs, do the UVs first, then duplicate it. It's gonna save you some hassle later. Otherwise, I would have had to have redone the UVs every time. Okay, so now again, I need to smooth this, and when I smooth it, let me just go ahead and do that. It's gonna change the UVs a bit. It's gonna mess them up a little. The good news is the shells are probably gonna be fine. My shell choices are gonna be good still. All I have to do now is basically unfold one more time on each shell, just to make sure. Because let's check the distortion. It's probably introducing some distortion from the smooth. Yeah, there's a little bit of funkiness there. But you know, generally speaking, I probably just have to unfold again, and it will probably clean up the distortion and make it nicer. Yeah, so that's fine. Because it just when you do the smooth, all it's doing is introducing new subdivisions to the faces that you already had. And sometimes that'll introduce a little distortion because it's rounding it, it's kind of changing the shape a bit, but the shells are still the same basically. They just have extra faces in them, extra edges. So just have to re-unfold. And there is a chance though the smooth could cause problems, like in the sense of like you have to you might have to cut a few more seams. It's possible if the smooth actually changes the shape dramatically enough to where it's sort of things are in the way. That's a possibility, but that feels pretty good. Cool. Okay, so now last but not least, the leaves. Now the beauty of the leaves is if you look at when I select one of them, all of them highlight, and they look kind of pretty with that UV checker on them. But anyways, so what does that mean? It means I instance these leaves. I instance them, which means I only have to UV map one of them, and they all get the benefit of it. Not only that, but when I actually do bring it into Substance Painter, I'm only going to have to paint one leaf. I only have to paint one leaf, and they're all going to get that texture, which again is much better for texture memory and that sort of thing. So, yeah. So, but I actually already did this earlier, and I was not thinking. When I was modeling it, I UV'd it as I was modeling it. But I'll just show you real quick. Literally all I did was grab the leaf. In fact, let me just isolate one of these so you can see. All I did was I just stayed in object mode, and I just projected mapping planar Y. It gives me this shell here. And then all I did was go through and select this edge loop, double click that, and then continue it this way, basically cutting off the back side of the leaf. I'm cutting off the back side of the leaf, which gives me two shells, which is basically, oops, did I miss? Let's see. Should give me two shells. Yep, there we go. I guess I didn't select it properly. So now I've got basically the back plane of the back of the leaf, and then the top. And what I did is I created just a little bit of a lip here with an extrude. So I do want the leaf to have thickness, and I also want it to have like a subtle bit of an edge to it. But what I did is I tapered it so that the back of the leaf is less likely to be seen more often. So I didn't worry about how sharp the edge is on that side. Instead, I just focused on giving a little bit of a little bit of a bevel, a little bit of a lip to the top of it. Yeah, it raises the poly count a bit. But if I'm gonna expend some poly count, I want to do it on the visible side, or the side that's visible most often. Plus, it also makes UV mapping easier because I don't have to actually cut a lot of seams because of how subtle the change in direction is there. Okay, so now all I got to do, literally all I have to do now is unfold and then unfold. And that's it. And this should be nice and pretty. Nice, clean checkers. So, oh, actually, haha. I do need to cut a couple seams right here because this does change directions a bit. This little spot right here, this is going to get a little funky. So I need to cut, and you could tell that you need seams right here because of the way it changes direction like that. So let me just cut a couple seams and then re-unfold. Boop. Good to go. And that should be fine. That should be good enough. It's possible more seams would be better down here, but I'm gonna leave it alone. It's nice and clean most everywhere, and no one's gonna be looking that close at that little spot. So cool. All right, so that's it. That's it for UV mapping. Oh, except for laying out. Haha. Oh, and I just did that on the which one? The smooth version? Yeah. So I just did that on the smooth version. Whatever. I should have. Oh, you know what? But I still had the. I had it done over here anyway. Okay, so I've got both. I got everything unwrapped on both of these. This again is sort of my backup copy because I don't like to commit to the smooth. I like to be able to go back to the unsmooth version if I need to. So here we go. Now I can go ahead and do the layout on this sucker, which I might as well do my combine first. That'd be fine. So I'll just go ahead and combine it. It's now one object. But now I'm going to do my layout. So I'm going to do shift right click. Come on. Go to, oops, UV mode. And now, whoops, come on, layout options. And again, I'm in legacy mode, and I'm just gonna do prescale object or world. Hit apply. Oh, haha, whoops. So now here, it's good thing I screwed up, because this is a good way to show you what the difference between combining first versus not combining first gets you. There's like a bazillion leaves here right now. There's a bazillion leaves. It's because I combined first. When I combined, I lost my instancing. So when I do layout, it spreads everything out. Now, if I wanted to do this, I could do this if I wanted to paint each leaf individually. Like if I wanted unique textures on every leaf, but no. The whole point of the instancing was to not have that happen. So I'm gonna undo until I get past the combine. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is lay it out first. Lay it out first, and then do my combine, and that will give me better results. So there we go. Now when I lay out, the leaves are literally there's two. Just the front and the back. That's it. So let me go ahead and close this, and now it's just a matter of focusing on the jigsaw puzzle, right? So one thing I like to do is if I have this kind of scenario, if I can, it'd be nice to layer those. But it's not really matching. The one I did the other day actually worked better in this regard. So I don't know if I'll get away with that. I could probably shrink it down a little bit. Yeah, you should, generally speaking, since I've matched my scale, I shouldn't scale anything uniquely. Like I shouldn't scale this by itself. But just a tiny bit. It's gonna lose a little resolution, but this is literally the dirt inside the pot, and I don't care too much if it's a little bit lower resolution, but it should be fine. Okay, so that just maximizes my texture space much better. Doing that, circular things are just a pain to lay out in the 0 to 1 space. So anytime I can sort of make that easier on myself, I like to try to do that. Let me just get these out of the way. I feel like this one, I would like to have this one kind of arching this way. It's gonna arch. Bending things like this are kind of a pain too, because then you get these little gaps and you're like, well, where am I gonna put stuff? So I can, try to shove little things in the corners and try to fill that space if I can. I wonder if that one would fit there. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. That one fits. This one can go here. Alright. This one can kind of wedge in here. This one maybe also. Maybe not. Let's see. Actually, this one though. Let's just sort of place this Along here. Both of those and get around. I know this is not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but you know, you don't have to. You can always fast forward. Or you know, you guys should know how to do this anyways. Just wanted to put this up just to cover all the bases so that if you're like, wait a minute, what do you mean we have to paint? What do you mean we have to paint the potted plants? We didn't even UV them. Well, now you are. Now you're UVing them. And if you freak out because you're like, I don't know how. Well, I'm giving you some options right here. This is how you could do it. Plus, I also needed to UV them so that I could use them for my painter demo. Okay, this is a super awkward one, but let's put these. Oops, I lapped it. Oh no. So this is one of those scenarios now where I'm like, well, it's these spokes that are kind of shooting off here. These are what are making this piece so awkward. You know, if I really wanted to, I could cut all those off and just kind of use them to fill in the little gaps here and there. That might be easier because sometimes you have to make a choice. You know, is keeping this seam, you know, like stitching that seam there, getting rid of that seam, is it really worth making this shape so awkward and hard to place? Just realized that that's kind of in there awkwardly. There we go. That's better. So, and sometimes the answer is, you know what? Maybe it would be easier just to rip those off as their own little shells. Because that would make this piece way less awkward, harder and less hard to place. I don't know. I don't want to waste time on this right now. I just want to get this cranked out so we can move on to painting. So I'm getting there, and it's like I've still got a lot of space, so I could try to scale everything up and see if I can cram things in there more efficiently. Maybe this piece though would be a hard one because I don't think I can scale this one up much. I could cut it in two pieces so that it would fit better, but I think this big huge piece is what's kind of screwing up the rest of them. Where this has to fit. They had, you know, Maya had to scale this just right to fit into the 0 to 1 space, so that screwed up all these other ones because these other ones don't need as much room, texture space wise, you know, textile space. Anyways. Now I could decide to give more resolution to the leaves if I wanted the leaves to be especially nice. I could scale them up a bit because, you know, that's generally where most people are going to look. Having the pot look super fancy. And I guess if there was a nice design on it, in fact, yeah, that's actually a good point. Maybe I should make a nice design for it. But yeah. I'll tell you what. This is not the ideal layout. There's a lot of wasted space here. And I could probably redo this some other time, but since I'm recording a video right now, I don't want to waste too much time. But I'll use this, and we'll move on to sending this to Substance Painter, which is awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save, and then we'll talk about exporting. Actually, let's do that right now. I'll talk about exporting right now, and then that way when we do the Substance Painter thing, we can just move straight into importing. So exporting, again, I do want to mention that I have noticed that at work, at the school, they have an older version of Substance. At least right now, they're going to update as soon as possible, I know. But for now, they have an older version of Substance, which means you have to export in OBJ. I tried exporting FBXs and it would not import. So I want to show you that. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Export Selection. Oh, wait, let me go ahead and combine it first. So, bam, select the whole thing, combine. And now I'm going to Export Selection. And I actually created a project file, so Maya files, potted plants, scenes. I'm just going to go ahead and export to my scenes folder next to my Maya file. It'll be fine. It's just a good way to keep everything together. But anyways, so plant, I'll just call it plant. And as far as all these things, FBX wise, if I export in FBX, it'll work for me here at home because I have the latest version of Substance. If you're doing this at home, you probably also have the latest version of Substance. So just go ahead and do that. Just go ahead and do an FBX. And I'll export both, actually. Because there is a difference. FBXs are a little easier to work with because they keep the chunks easily selectable. Okay, anyways. So export, bam, plant. Got it. And now, to export an OBJ, OBJs are older. They're older file types, and they're a lot easier to deal with in the sense that, like, compatibility, there's less compatibility issues. An OBJ is just a bunch of points in space. So if you're running into issues where you're having problems importing and exporting to different programs, an OBJ is the simplest form of a 3D model you can get. So there's a lot less issues with compatibility. So my advice is generally try to export as an FBX, and if you run into problems, maybe try OBJ. So if I do that, OBJ, so pulling down this menu, I can scroll down and there's OBJ export. Now I do want to tell you though, OBJ is not on by default necessarily for exporting purposes. So if you need to export an OBJ and it's not showing up in that list, the drop-down list, you need to go here, Windows, Settings Preferences, Plugin Manager, and you need to open the Plugin Manager and scroll down. This is really long, I know. And you need to find OBJ export. It's right here. Okay, so OBJ export.mll loaded, and I make sure it's on auto load because it's pretty common that I'm gonna need to export OBJs from time to time. So I want to make sure it's auto loaded. That means that every time I open Maya from now on, it should know that to load this plugin. So yeah, like I said, it's not always on by default though. So you may have to go in here every now and then and check, hey, wait a minute. Is this on right now? Do I have the ability to export an OBJ? You should turn that on. Same thing with FBX too, by the way. FBX is also one that that one is usually on by default, but sometimes somehow it gets turned off. So if you don't see FBX listed in your drop down for exporting, it could be that plugin got turned off. You have to go in there and turn it back on. So it's in there as well. Okay, so that's it though. But once you export, then all you got to do is go into Substance Painter and import it, and we'll get to that in the next video. Okay, everyone. Hope you enjoy this. Again, you probably don't even need this video. I just made it just to be on the safe side in case everyone's like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Like, that plants are so hard to unfold. Yeah, they're a little trickier. Organic shapes get a little trickier, but now you've seen some of my workflow and like what I would do with it. Hope it helps. All right, good luck.